Now we are going to talk about our eyewitness story presentation. Okay, today we are going to talk about the influence of exam-oriented teaching. Before having a deep discussion, let's introduce the issue. There is an ingrained thinking that academic results determines everything. In fact, this thinking is related to a Chinese traditional view, which is utilitarianism. Under such kind of idea, the results is the only criterion for judging right or wrong. The pursuit of good future and performance seems to always be regarded as inevitable. In the contrast, focusing on basic theoretical research is often regarded as divorced from reality. Utilitarianism has also shown in Hong Kong society that people will judge whether a person is successful or not depends on the degree of education and prestigious school or university he graduated from. In some, good academic results equal to bright prospects. Over time, this social value and ingrained thinking lead to the education system nowadays. Hong Kong is carrying out exam-oriented teaching. It is a teaching method that excessive emphasis on imparting knowledge and students' proficiency of knowledge. To consolidate what they learn, teachers will provide intensive training. The curriculum is set for students to get ready for standardized tests such as TSA and HKDSE. Due to the emergency of talents, the educational system develops the strong social phenomenon of only the fittest will survive. Such influence of exam-oriented teaching is the most significant education programs in present Hong Kong. Now, I'm going to talk about tests and how tests and exams demonstrate the shortcoming of exam-oriented teaching. Firstly, let me introduce the TSAs since 2004. Students from primary 3, 6, and secondary 3 are chosen to be one of the participants in this assessment. This assessment tries to assist to school to refer to the difference between the school performance and the results of the whole and understand whether the basic ability level of its student in the three core subjects has reached the level of the whole or not. Until 2015, many noise about TSA turning students into examination machines and should be abolished as soon as possible. However, the educational period have emerged some improvements from 2017 and 2018. For example, TSA for primary 3 students changed to BCA. After 1 year, TSA resumed and 10% of students from each primary school will be selected. These changes try to reduce student stress from too many exercises conducted by the school. In fact, many schools still carry out extra classes during the holidays to help students preparing themselves. No matter how it's changed, assessment system is still appear from young age. It shows a strong adherence to the notion of determining students' ability through assessment. On the other hand, Hong Kong has another significant public examination, which is HKDSE. Since 2012, as limited number of university degrees in Hong Kong, getting a satisfactory result in HKDSE is the only path to enter the university. Students should fulfill the minimum requirements in the table. HKDSE is also known as dead or life examination, as students have single time to show what they learn from secondary 4 to 6. Due to the seriousness of this examination, teachers constantly catching up with the curriculum before the HKDSE. However, as the context of the examination does not change for anyone, it is important to complete the course even if there is not enough time for teaching or students are overwhelmed. That's exam-oriented teaching in Hong Kong. There is a question in many Hong Kong students' mind: can such force-fed knowledge for HKDSE can really apply in future? Taking reading paper of Chinese language as an example, except testing student skills of reading comprehension, students are also required to deeply memorize the contents of 12 sets tests, which taught from secondary 4 to 6. The content refers to the message behind the test, the name and the usage of stylistic device in the test, and the meanings of some specific words. Undoubtedly, this part of the paper can relieve students' worries about this subject, as they are certain of getting higher marks in this part if they have studied the 12 sets test very well. Because of this advantage, teacher and tutorial classes design different templates and intensive notes which include model answer of different question types. At the same time, students keep doing past paper at the short time to think deeply. The words student recites all night long cannot improve their Chinese language skills. It is not useful for their personal life and career. Also, it is not Chinese history subject. Students' Chinese language ability cannot really be tested by his or her recitation skills. That's what's brought by exam-oriented teaching. Besides Chinese language, mathematics can also show the side effects of exam-oriented teaching. Because of limited teaching time and a vast amount of curriculum, students learn some shortcuts to get higher marks instead of the theory among different formulas, which show in the PowerPoint. Therefore, exam-oriented teaching form a bad learning atmosphere. That the result is far greater than the process. So under the exam-oriented teaching, who has been vetted? Undoubtedly, students come first. To meet exam and homework requirements, students just want to get the model answer. They're afraid of making mistakes. They are not going to judge or ask what their teacher said. Thus, passive learning occurs on present Hong Kong. This will be seriously reduce the diversity of possible answer and the willingness of learning actively.
So under the primary education system, we understand that the Hong Kong Education Bureau loves using different examination as a QC process, using one's academic results to define who he or she is. This comes up with the phenomenon that one's future is highly related to his or her academic results. In Hong Kong, parents believe that a famous school can bring his or her child away to success. Its curriculum and resources can make his or her child become more outstanding. So the Hong Kong parents want their children can be well prepared to get into a famous school. Somehow the parents nowadays may be concerned about their child's ability and worry about whether their child will fall behind the other child. So they would like to arrange different language tutor classes and extracurricular activity for their child so that their child can stand out from others. Here comes to two supporting videos that show how it happens in Hong Kong. So let's watch the first video together.冇聲. Okay, never mind. Just narratively tell you about the video, what is going on. The woman who appeared in the first video is Mrs. Lee, and the document on her computer is a portfolio she prepared for her son Darren. And this kind of portfolio aims to list all kind of details to show how brilliant a child is. And the parents use this portfolio to apply to their ideal school. Besides, she also mentioned that Hong Kong students' daily life is packed with different kinds of extracurricular activity and tutor classes. And the second video, and please check again whether the second one can able to. Okay, the content above can show that there is an educational exhibition in Hong Kong, and there are lots of booths there to promote different kinds of study aids, such as different workbooks, extracurricular activity, and some interview workshops. And the content above can show that the mindset of the parents under the ingrained Chinese thought, utilitarianism, aim to fight for a good start for their children's future study pathway and push their students to attend extra courses. June. Moreover, school under this primary education system also become harsh. As we mentioned, there is a TSA test for all Hong Kong primary 3, 6, and secondary 3, 6 students. And this test is used to distinguish the academic level of that school by its students' test result. And the overall academic level will affect that school's performance report. Thus, the school may put the responsibility back on the students and push them to do further extra exercise and past paper in order to meet up the achieving rate. School schedule may be very tight to teach different knowledge as fast as possible and use the spare time to do extra exercise with the students. Also, the teacher may assign a lot of homework and dictation for the students. So here comes to the screen capture from a documentary about how the Hong Kong student deal with the homework after school. And the little boy in the picture is called Ga Ting, and his mother has mentioned that her son has around 8 to 10 homework per day, and she will set a time limit for him, and Kating, the boy, needs to finish his work within 2 hours. And after finishing his homework, Kating needs to prepare for his dictation or tests immediately. Here shows that the time after school is tight for Hong Kong children, and the young children need to face different homework and test stress under the primary education system. So we can also notice that each stakeholder in Hong Kong are being stuck in this vicious cycle of primary education. So can we change the current phenomenon to a more flexible and child interest oriented education system? And let's take a look at Finland. Their unique education system brings them to the top of the list of the happiest countries in the world. Finland's education is based on a phenomenon-based learning, PBL, approach. It is an educational approach leading students to learn multidisciplinary, which based on the student inquiry and problem solving. There is no specific subject or any preset learning objective. The student can learn by self-investigation. Here shows that the PBL approach will never force students to remember certain knowledge, but also focus on the application and encourage children to think broadly. It can help preparing the learners to solve the real-life problems. Thus, we come up with two suggestions that can help strengthening Hong Kong students' creativity and learning intention and build up an open-mind thinking mindset for them. The first one will be setting up a special learning period at home, at school. 轉個 page 係啦。 And the first one will be setting up special learning period at school. And take Finland's case as our reforming reference. We can bring the PBL approach to both Hong Kong primary school and secondary school. The special learning period can be set as the post-examination activity and maybe last for 1 month. During the period, we can invite the students from different grades to form groups to do discussion. And the students can have 2 or 3 topics then can explore, and one is assigned by the teacher and the other one is come from the students themselves. And during the process, student can discuss about the topic, and there will be no grades, marks, or any assessment involved in this activity. Just let the students able to explore different methods to solve the problem they find out, and to explore what they want to know. And once they finishing the topic, each group of students is going to do a presentation to share what they discovered during the investigation process. The format of the presentation can have no limitation, and the student can use any creative way to express what they discover and share their solution to respond to the topics. This can provide a chance for the Hong Kong students to try out a new and flexible learning system apart from direct teaching from teachers, and it helps boosting the Hong Kong students' creativity, broader their mindset, and encourage them to think outside of the box. Secondly, and the second solution can allow the student to be the one who teach. As the education in Hong Kong is mainly in charge by the teachers, and the student go to school just listen to what the teacher says. So the student in Hong Kong are likely to follow what the teacher arranged for an exam preparation purpose. They have fewer chance to explore what they truly want to know or learn, and become less curious about their surroundings. Thus, our goal is to give better learning intention to the students, and the primary school can have 2 self-initiated learning sessions per week. Those sessions can invite, each session can invite a child to be that session's teacher, and the child can choose to teach his or her classmates something new that he or she recently find out, or just carry out some questions that he or she is curious to know to different classmates. And therefore, the children can be the one who acts as our active learners to discover something new rather than just learning from the books or just receiving some new information from the teachers.